Good evening and welcome to Channel 784's news program. I'm Bob Connor and this is what's happening around the world today. We've got chaotic scenes on suburban streets as large flocks of birds have taken over. Scientists are troubled by mysterious objects appearing in local lakes. An unbelievable discovery in a small-town library is making waves, and a rather extraordinary story of a local resident avoiding jail time. Finally, an unprecedented snow shower has hit a beach town in the middle of a heat wave. Now let's have our meteorologist, Anna, tell us more about the weather.
Good evening, I'm Anna, and here's the weather report. First to Longton, where temperatures will range from a frigid -26 to a blistering 94. It looks like you'll be seeing plenty of rain. Longton is home to world-famous museum and a stunning waterfall. Down to Lewin we go, where weekends are chilly, with temperatures ranging from -25 to 80. Expect some gray skies and showers aplenty. Be sure to check out the historic town square if you're in the area. Heading west to Dunsmuir, those hot summer days will reach highs of 99 degrees. And the sun blazing on most days. If you're passing through, don't miss the lush national forest. Further north to Hooper, temperatures will range from -25 to -13. But Hooper is especially known for its strong winds, so be sure to bundle up. Finally to Castleford, where the forecast is windy. Temperatures will vary from a chilly -32 to a balmy 29. This charming town is home to the iconic Castle Bridge, which is worth a visit if you're in the area. That's all for today's weather, and now back to Bob with today's top stories.
A group of scientists has recently grown increasingly concerned about the mysterious objects that are floating in a local lake. Although the exact nature of these objects remains a mystery, some experts believe that they could be a source of potentially hazardous materials. The first reports of the objects' presence came when a group of researchers conducted an extensive tour of the lake a few months ago. Though initial examinations were inconclusive, the objects were generally described as being small and brown in color, leading some to believe that they could be of organic origin. Suspicions were further aroused when researchers discovered that the lake was host to abnormally high levels of chlorine, nitrogen, and phosphorus. When local experts conducted a gill netting survey to examine the lake's contents, they found a startling variety of unusual materials in the nets, ranging from wood fragments and plastic bottles to pieces of metal. This has led to speculation that the mysterious floating objects are a combination of both natural and man-made debris. The discovery of such unknown substances in a local lake creates serious cause for concern, as their potential for causing environmental and health problems is largely unknown. In addition to producing more widespread contamination of the lake waters, the exposure of such objects to the public could have potentially serious repercussions. Although the source and nature of the mysterious objects remain unclear, scientists are growing increasingly worried about the potential consequences of their presence. In the meantime, it is advised that area residents take all necessary precautions to protect themselves and their environment from potentially hazardous materials. Residents of a suburban area were recently startled to find their streets overrun by a vast flock of birds. These birds, which have been described as a swarm or a blizzard, have been taking over the streets for the past several weeks. The birds often come in waves, seeming to arrive out of nowhere and take over the streets for hours. Traffic is brought to a standstill, and the birds make walking in the area virtually impossible. The birds have been wreaking havoc and chaos on the towns and its residents. People have been forced to leave their cars and walk home, as the birds will not move for even bicycle riders. The birds show no sign of leaving, and seem to become more aggressive the more people try to disperse them. Residents have reported feeling unsafe walking in the area, as the birds will often swarm around and peck at pedestrians. Local businesses have also suffered a great deal of financial distress due to the birds. Customers are deterred from visiting businesses, as they would have to pass through the roving flock of birds. Shopkeepers are reporting a huge drop in activity and business, leading to a significant decrease in profits. It appears that the birds are here to stay, and that the chaos is only likely to get worse. The problem has become so bad that the local government has been forced to intervene, sending workers to try and disperse the birds and clear the streets. Unfortunately, all of their efforts thus far have resulted in little or no effect, and the birds remain as ever. It is clear that this issue is of serious concern, and has caused a great deal of chaos and disruption to the lives of the people in this suburban area. As the situation stands, it will be difficult for them to return to any semblance of normality for several weeks to come. Residents of a small, rural town were recently shocked to discover a relic from the medieval era in their local library. Despite the enthusiasm of local librarians, the presence of this relic is an affront to the culture of the town and raises several concerns. To begin, it is unclear how the mysterious relic found its way into the library in the first place. Was it simply donated? Was it found within the library walls? Was it stolen and subsequently donated by a criminal? Either way, the lack of transparency and investigation into the relic's origin story is cause for alarm. What other unknown items may be hidden within the library walls? The relic also raises questions regarding the appropriateness of a public library displaying artifacts. Is this relic suitable viewing material for children, or would its presence spark nightmares of war and blood? In addition, why was the relic allowed to stay in the library, despite its unclear origin? Is the library attempting to hide the relic from scrutiny, or are they attempting to do the opposite and reap the attention this relic has garnered? Moreover, the relic's presence seems to be a distraction from the primary purpose of public libraries to provide accessible learning opportunities for community members. Although it may draw in tourists, these visits are fleeting and will not sustain the library in the long term. In sum, the discovery of this relic in a public library was a surprise to many and raises questions about the library's intentions. Most troubling, is the presence of this relic a distraction from the primary goal of public libraries? A local resident, whose name was not released, had a brush with the law and managed to dodge jail time. The resident reportedly arranged an impromptu flight departing from a local airport and landed at a destination unknown to authorities. Although the details surrounding this resident's activities are obscure at best, what is known is that the resident was slated to serve jail time for some criminal offense but decided to take drastic measures to avoid incarceration. While escaping is not an uncommon tactic in a desperate attempt to stay free, the resident's particular choice of finance required to orchestrate such an evasion has come under scrutiny. The exact amount of funds used remain a mystery, but analysts are speculating that the number had to be substantial to facilitate a private plane rental and its extravagant fuel costs. Any assets purchased with criminal funds could be legally seized by authorities. The activity has raised questions over how the resident was able to access such funds, given the severity of the offense they were convicted of and the fact that procedural protocol should have barred them from accessing any of their financial assets. While the local resident has managed to avoid jail time, their actions have drawn negative attention for the potential implication of association with criminal elements. It would be in their best interests to keep a low profile and remain law-abiding, both for their own sake and also for the sake of their loved ones. When people picture summertime, they often think of sunshine, heat, and lazy days spent at the beach. However, a small beach town in the U.S. recently experienced something quite unprecedented: a midsummer snowfall. On a shockingly cold day in June, residents of Sandpiper Beach were met with a strange sight: snowflakes fluttering above them, settling gently to the ground. 2 weeks of higher than normal temperatures suddenly shifted, leaving locals and tourists alike stunned. While the snow flurry lasted for only a few minutes, it was enough to create an unforgettable experience for local beachgoers. Packets of winter attire were thrown on, making for an amusing sight on the beach. Residents and visitors alike took the opportunity to make snowmen, create snow angels, and even have a snowball fight or two. Amidst the chaos of the unexpected snowfall, the town's city council took the necessary precautions to ensure the safety of all. Local officials quickly spread salt to reduce the icy conditions, allowing visitors to carry on with their day without worry. This unexpected snowfall proved to be an exciting day for the beach town. It was a reminder that life is full of surprises, no matter the season. Although we may not experience the same midsummer snow anytime soon, the town of Sandpiper Beach will always have this unique memory. Good evening, and welcome to tonight's debate. Our topic of discussion is scientists troubled by mysterious objects floating in local lake. Now let's hear from our panelists. First up is Mike Krockhauser, an avid environmentalist and scientist. He will be discussing his views on this mysterious occurrence and why scientists are so concerned. Please welcome Mike. Now we will move on to Ellie Donahue, a lawyer and expert on environmental law. She will be giving her perspective on the issue and how it affects local regulations. Please join me in welcoming Ellie. Let's open the floor to the debate. Mike and Ellie, the floor is yours.
The recent news of mysterious objects floating in our local lake is troubling, but I think we should take a more pragmatic approach to the issue. We need to take a step back and analyze the situation before we go jumping to conclusions.
I'm sorry, but I think that's exactly what we should be doing. We must act now and determine the source of these objects before they cause more damage to the environment. I think it's irresponsible to wait until we have all the answers before taking action.
I understand your point, but we must also be mindful of the cost of taking action. If we act before we have all the facts, we could be wasting precious resources that could be better spent elsewhere. We need to be smart about this and make sure we're using our resources in the most efficient way possible.
But if we don't act quickly, the consequences could be much worse. We could be facing irreparable damage to the lake and the surrounding environment. Not to mention the potential health risks from whatever is in the water. We can't just wait and see what happens. We need to take action now.
I understand your concerns, but we have to be careful not to act rashly. We should take the time to properly investigate the situation, determine the source of the objects, and evaluate the potential risk before we move forward. I'm sure we can come to a consensus on an informed decision.
But that takes time, and time is something we don't have right now. The longer we wait, the more damage is being done. We can't afford to be complacent. We need to act quickly and decisively to protect our environment and our health.
I'd like to thank Mike Krockhauser and Ellie Donahue for a compelling debate, and now it's time to dive into the world of sports. A magical day has arrived as Wizard League enthusiasts across the world gather in anticipation for the opening match of the 2021 season. It's been a long, arduous way for Wizard League fans, enduring a dreaded offseason filled, too, many dark days and months before the spellbinding matchups would finally arrive. Fans were delighted with the announcement of the opening match between the Vector L Vipers and the Windborne Unicorns, but the competition doesn't stop there. This season, many teams will be vying for the prestigious Wizard Cup, a golden trophy that is presented to the team that wins the league championship. This year, the Vector L Vipers will be defending their title against some powerful opponents, including the Darkfire Drakes, Skyhawks, and the Ice Dancers. For fans of the game, this season will be even more exciting as teams have been able to improve their gameplay with the introduction of advanced magical spells and abilities. Of course, physical strength and prowess is still necessary, but with the added magical elements, the odds are more evenly matched among teams. Team captains will also face off in new Wizard League events, including a tournament of magical allies, conjuring up powerful magical creatures to provide assistance in battles. Fans will also be watching to see which team has the best chemistry and can work together to secure the victory. No matter who wins, there's sure to be lots of magical mayhem as the season progresses. So make sure to tune in and witness the wonder of the Wizard League 2021 season. It promises to be an amazing display of spellbinding matchups, bound to enchant viewers near and far. Football fantasy leagues are a competitive but enjoyable way for sports fans to play a virtual version of the sport they love. For some football fanatics, it's about more than just bragging rights. Some fantasy leagues become a competition to find out who is truly the best. This weekend, two of the biggest rivalries in the fantasy football community are set for an epic showdown as the defending champions face off against the runner-up from last year's playoffs. Both teams have worked hard throughout the offseason to refine their strategies and will be bringing their best game to the field. What makes this matchup even more exciting is the level of preparation put in by both teams. Statisticians have been hired to compile detailed data, coaches have tailored their lineups to the opponent's strengths and weaknesses, and each owner has a special playbook of their own design plays. The stakes could not be higher, as the winner of this match will be crowned champion of the entire fantasy football league. It's quite the honor, and who knows what kind of glory will come their way. As such, both sides are sure to be throwing everything they have at one another in a bid for the title. For any football fan, this is something you won't want to miss. The critical clash between these long-standing rivals promises to be an absolute barn-burner. Get your popcorn ready, because the fantasy footballers are set for an epic showdown this weekend. The Goblin Bowl 2002 was supposed to be the year of the Goblin champion, but that honor has yet to be awarded. Not only has the Goblin champion not been revealed this year, but the tournament itself was fraught with major issues. Despite the Goblin Bowl 2002 being hailed as the most exciting Goblin Bowl ever, the tournament drastically fell short of expectations. Organizers of the tournament were quick to announce the Year of the Goblin challenge that would take place during this year's tournament. The idea was to reward an individual goblin that was the most prolific at the end of each game. Unfortunately, what started out as an exciting concept quickly devolved into a disaster. Goblins in the stands were often confused on what it took to be crowned the Year of the Goblin champion. This lack of clarity caused plenty of animosity throughout the tournament as fans argued over which goblin had the most prolific performance. Compounding this confusion were numerous reports of referees being biased and awarding wins to specific players throughout the tournament. As a result, the Goblin Bowl 2002 was more chaos than competition, and with no clear winner of the Year of the Goblin challenge, the tournament was seen by many as a failure. Spectators, players, and parents alike have voiced their displeasure with the tournament, and with the way it was organized. The Goblin Bowl 2002 may have promised great things, but it ultimately failed to deliver on them. This tournament was supposed to be a grand celebration for the Goblin community, but it only served to create confusion and discontent. The Year of the Goblin challenge was supposed to be the highlight of the tournament, but it only led to further disappointment. This is Bob Connor, thanking you for joining me to stay informed. We hope you have a great day and that you continue to stay knowledgeable and up to date with all the latest news. Until next time, stay safe and healthy. Goodbye.